Ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bá jó, ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bá jó, olúwa mi ò dìde ojó ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀.
Welcome to Theoryforge Chronicles. I am Phantom X, joined as always by Sog, legendary neurotoxin, and the infamous Diggs. And we are joined by our guest, Duke Balthazar. How's everyone doing?
Doing great.
I'm going to continue using infamous. Thank you, everyone, for joining us as we kind of continue through the extra DSS shows. We have a lot to talk about, but before we get to that, Duke Balthazar, why don't you tell everyone, I guess, just a little bit about you and your role?
So I was handed over the Duchy of Luxspring by Yana Kallar after she decided to split up the Royal Duchy. And so I'm just taking over running it in its function within the kingdom, which still hasn't quite been defined completely. Last minute fun.
I would love to hear more about that. So what was the start of this? And how long did she have the first one? She split it in two, so she's still running a second.
Yeah, she has Meloria up in the middle of Aranor.
Okay. And then when did this decision happen?
Basically the day it got placed.
Last week?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how does that change the original plans that you were thinking of?
A little bit drastic. I was going to run a night order inside the Royal Duchy.
So why don't we bring up the map real quick and just show where this duchy is, and I will put you to work. So Angelica, Aranor, and then that far, and then there's the Duchy of Luxspring that is jutting out to the south. Click on Aranor in the far north. And then Luxspring is the far southern duchy in Aranor, and that's where our guest will be taking over. So this was interesting to me because it was the last of these border duchies to be claimed, and it was just kind of sitting there jutting into Valyria, and from the outside we didn't know who's going to take that. Then okay, yeah, our Queen Yenna is going to be picking with her other Duke account, and then I heard a rumor that Remus was going to be running that duchy. Was that real, or just something I heard through the grapevine that was wrong?
That was through the grapevine. We were messing with Remus.
Telling him that all of a sudden he had to be a duke.
He hates titles, hates responsibility.
And then in here, which is your county is which one?
Polishana.
Polishana, with a very nice delving keep in the center of it.
Yes.
So as the Duke in Luxspring, you will be required to play Hrothi. There isn't enough Broadveer population to choose.
Yeah, I know.
Was that your preferred tribe, or did you want to do something different?
I wanted to be Broodveer originally. Ever since my original entry into the community, I was planning to be Broodveer.
So So how does this work? Can't you be Broodveer and still be a Duke? Or do you have to spark into a Duke that is already Harathi?
He will have to spark into a Harathi because of the way as your title moves higher up, your restrictions on tribal choice at that role become more limited. So for the Duke, you have to be of the most populous tribe. I believe as a count, you can be the top or anyone below that is at least 70% of the top.
I believe it was 25 or 40% is what I was reading the other day. Because I was looking into the loopholes to see if I might be able to be a Broodveer Duke.
Well, that's what alts are for.
That is definitely what alts are for.
Among other things.
So with this, you just came into this role. You were thinking you're going to play a Broodveer, and you're working on this Night Order, and you're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, you have to be a Duke. What is or you don't have to be a Duke. You could say no. I don't know that I would want to be the one saying no to Yenna, but you could have said no. What is the first thing that you do in this realization that, oh no, I'm a Duke, and every other Duke has had, well over a year to build a community, and what is the first thing that you do?
First thing you have to do is decide whether or not Duke is going to be your title, right? What's the title?
So a lot of what's going on with my county name, my city name, and my own title is from the lore that Iana built with Aranor.
So is it Duke?
Kagane, I believe, is it?
That's what it says in the Discord.
Okay.
And that's just a name that she developed for an Aranor-specific lore. Is that right? Or am
yes.
Okay.
But to be for the Harathi, they have their own. Do they have their own names, or is that they just go by the Naren names because they're pretty? Oh yeah, their leadership hierarchy mirrors that of the Naren, so it's Duke or King or Count and all of that. So they don't have their own names. So that's really good that you guys have a kingdom specific. You don't have to just be super bland like the Naren. Before we stall out just talking about this one tiny little topic, let's move into kind of some of the things that have happened on the server in the last week or so. Just a fun little thing in our NA West Discord run by Eric from Tyria. He was looking for help for someone to manage the emojis on the Discord server, and this turned into a voting extravaganza. Well, first it started off with Artorian Negnar just yelling at each other about emojis, but it appears that
I don't understand why there's an issue with emojis. What's the issue?
They want more server specific emojis, right? But the admin for the server doesn't want to do that work, and a whole bunch of people said they wanted to do the work, so he put it up for a vote by the community. And it appears that Huldrick, with 91 votes, has won that. So we will now have Huldrick managing emojis for our server Discord here. And the other news to jump on this last-minute shenanigans thing, Eric is the admin for this NA West Discord server, but he's also one of the leaders of Tyria. He's been an influential member of that kingdom for a very long time, and he placed in Valyria on the last day of count picks. He placed a double county across the border in another kingdom, and we do have a note from him that he has passed on for us to share. I could read it real quick. Hopefully we could put it up on the screen, but it says, after careful consideration, I've decided to place my counties in the Kingdom of Valyria, Silverdust Valley along the southern border with Tyria. I've come to this decision based on both the tribe and biome features that I have always favored from day one. With my selection comes a bit of controversy between both Tyria and the Monarch of Valyria, of which I am aware. I can say at this time with a clear conscience and with sincerity that I harbor no designs to rebel against the current monarch of Valyria or even cause said monarch any unwarranted grief. The peoples of the grassland and of the mixed leaf forest have always shared a friendly border, and I earnestly desire to see that tradition continue. I'm committed to the enforcement of any mechanical laws derived by respectable societal morals and with integrity. I will ensure trade with our southern friends remain open and prosperous. I encourage all citizens to come and live in a county where they are met with opportunity, entertainment, and stability. I have towns ready for mayors who also share my ideals for a prosperous reign. To current and potential neighboring counts, I extend a hand in greeting and welcome all of you to visit me anytime as we build together a region of wealth, stability, and opportunity for our constituents. This decision has not been made lightly. I have discussed at length with several of my confidants, including the Monarch of Tyria and the Monarch of Valyria. They have both been made aware and have had the opportunity to discuss my intentions. I have also waited until the last day to ensure that any other count with intentions in Valyria had their fair chance to place their desired location. I have concluded at this time that I have given all parties fair notice, time, and opportunity to adjust and prepare. I have chosen my county and a biome I desire as the tribe I wanted, for which I make no apology to anyone, anywhere, at any time. That was a lot of words that I just said, but...
Stability being a frequent one. So why would this be controversial? I don't understand.
He's a member of Tyria, not Valyria.
And so he just picked up territory on the Valyria side of the border.
Yeah. Does that matter?
Well, it means that now he's in a different kingdom. And so anybody who was planning to have him in their kingdom don't have him, and people that weren't planning to have him, guess what? Now he's there.
But he is loyal to Tyria as far as anybody knows. But mechanically in the game, this has a huge advantage.
In what way?
In that, in order to get Casus Belli against a county in your duchy, you need a vote of like 50% of the other counts and the Duke to support you in gaining the Casus Belli to be able to, which allows you to then take over another county.
Mm-hmm.
So if Eric places on the other side of the border in Tyria, he can just be raided, right? Or I guess he could still be raided, but it would be much easier for them to just launch an invasion against him. But as an internal attack, in order to remove him, in order to go through all of the process, it's much more difficult. And he has this like sprawling long duchy that just covers the border.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done this really cool thing where he has created this like peaceful buffer. And as long as there are 36 NPC counts in Azeron's duchy.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as he doesn't piss off NPC counts, And as long as he does what he says he's doing, and just being a friendly neighbor, he's just there. He has put at least a dramatic time waster in for there to be a border, right? And I think I think it was a really cool move. I was impressed by it. Bald, what do you think about this
development?
I thought it was rather interesting, sort of entertaining on my side of things. I mean, can't do anything as long as he's just chilling there doing his best as a count. Can't touch him. The NPCs aren't going to know better that he's meted into that spot right there. They're just going to think he's being a cool count right there next to them. So getting their votes to call a spell as him won't happen.
And he has great relations with the people on the other side of the border, so there's trade flowing. So he actually adds value to his neighbor.
Yeah, kind of interesting because yeah, these NPCs are not going to be upset.
Yeah, if he does what he says he's going to do in that letter, they have no reason to not think that, And if somebody comes and says, we don't like Eric, he's in that spot, they're like, wait, this guy is like making us rich because all of the trade from Tyria is coming through that duchy. The NPCs will be like, hey, Eric, heard we might need a new duke. The king is the duke, but he's set himself up in a position where that if he plays it right, the NPCs have no reason to not love him.
Well, and he says he tried to wait to give other people a chance to claim it if they wanted to claim it.
He did wait until the last day of count picks to do this. It was not public knowledge, and he did it pretty quietly too. He just got picked, and then he posted a recruitment post which said that he was in Valyria, and he didn't make a big deal out of it. It was just like his recruitment post for his county said Valyria instead of Tyria, and we're all like taking a double look. It was great.
Well, he says he was diplomatic about it, and that both kings or whatever are fine with it. So.
Well, we don't know.
That's what the letter says.
We know that he talked to them and let them talk back to him. We don't know that everyone is fine about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a funny thing going on. If they get enough trade and it becomes a wealthy enough place, it might actually be more profitable when the opportunity comes up. Just be like, we declare our independence. Y'all just have to come through us to trade, and that's that. We're neutral, and we're in the middle of things. Deal with it.
That would be an interesting play, but I think he's Tyrion. I think that.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of Mexico, where they're like, my family's been at the same spot for 500 years. Just the border has changed around us.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another way to play it in the future when time comes for the citizen, or anytime he wants to say, you know what, because a count can declare independence from a duke and then potentially join another duchy. I'm assuming that could work for a kingdom as long as you go through the time periods, the waiting periods for all that to happen, and redraw borders. But I think that the advantage right now is actually that he's on the other side of the border because of the mechanics of the game.
Yeah. Yep.
So
should be pretty interesting. So, I mean, with that in mind, that's sort of an unexpected land grab of sorts. Mouth, what would you be thinking about if that was like, a neighbor or territory that you were kind of hoping was just going to stay open. Like if that was adjacent to you, for example.
I mean, as long as they aren't coming in with intentions to be hostile, come on in and hang out, really. Like,
Gotcha.
nothing I can do. Let's try and make a vision together and work together. Like, make it roll.
All right.
So you're on the other side of that border with Valyria. What are your intentions there? Like, what is your goal? Like, you are sticking your neck out, like literally. You're just like sitting down there in Valyria, next to Haverlands and Amberlands, and then there's this really nice unclaimed, at this point, duchy just south of you. So
yeah, it sounds like it doesn't matter anyway, because Balt is just going to take over the Vine Haven, and then he'll eventually move into try and take over Silver Dust Valley anyway.
Oh yeah, you totally just roll right in there, say what's up. No, I'm mainly actually, the dream goal is to have a good economic flow coming through there. Like, I know that's what most people say they want to do, but I feel like I have a really good advantage in that spot. Those 3 biomes bordering me, on top of having the Taiga right there, it's an ideal trade spot between the Kipig's Weird and Naren there into the Broodveer and Harathi land. I can see a lot of potential.
Okay, but that would even be better if you had Vinehaven as well, right? Like, everybody's got to walk through there.
That's what I'm saying.
It could be up in the... I don't know. Just depends on how things play out throughout rest when the game comes out finally.
So when you found out that you're going to be taking over Lux Spring, did you reach out to the leaders of Haverlands and Amberlands and talk to them about setting up some trade opportunities yet? Or are you kind of...
I've already been in contact with Amberly and Rysith, and they're actually in my Discord, and I talk to them fairly frequently, I feel. We talked about setting up trade. I've been in contact with the Count over in Haverlands to keep trade going through, and just...
That is a pretty large county on your border there, Broad Meadow Slope. Is that Rysith's county, or is that somebody else?
Yeah, it is. Or not Rysith's county. That's one of his boys. Let me see. I got it in here somewhere.
The map doesn't tell us which player claimed each
I don't know that it can, because we don't know that people want their account names given out. I was thinking about that. It would be nice to be able to see that. I would at least like a ticker to say that going through that said what the last domain or settlement was picked was. I would love to just be able to know that, to know where to navigate to, just kind of leave it open and have like, the ticker or the bar going across just changes. The last 5 domains or settlements to be picked were, the Duchy of Lux Spring and Aranor was picked. And then you got to talk to people to figure out who or which embodiment of artificial human is now in control of that. But I don't think that we could expect having names, because it would be tied to an account name, and sure, a lot of people just have random account names.
We were spitballing about this in Aranor earlier today, and one of the things I was thinking about is, least attaching Duke names and the Monarch name forum names to the duchies and the kingdoms, so that people could then reach out using those forum names instead of hoping upon them by posting up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be nice to have a way to get in touch with people by sending a message or whatever, by clicking on it or by hovering over and saying, having a way to contact them via an alias that wasn't necessarily the account name.
Yeah, there should be a way. So when we spark in, what's the deal with the names? Are we sparking? Are we naming those characters, or they already have names?
You're muted, Neuro.
Whoops. Yes, I am. I believe you have the surname that you've selected on that character, if they're the character with title and on alt, and you choose the first name, I believe.
Yeah, like I'd be happy if they could put a surname there, if SBS wanted to do that, or then they could somehow link it to forum names or whatever. But it'd certainly be more immersive.
Even just a point of contact would be great. I agree with Balthazar there.
Well, there's a comment.
So, yeah, Serp says personas are your in-game character name, and there will be a way to use personas to communicate on the site before Expo. All right.
Well, that's good.
Link privately, so anonymity and the ability to use disguises and such is intact. Excellent.
Yeah, that's all good news. So before we move on to the next big topic of the week, Paul, were you able to pick something on your own, or were you planning on not having a title at all? Like, how were you able to interact with domain and settlement selection?
So Iana gave me the choice of letting me choose the county and the city, which is really cool. And I also chose.
So how did you feel about the process of selecting?
It was pretty straightforward. I didn't have many issues like I've heard about in the community, but selection felt pretty fair, really. Don't know if there's something specific you're looking for there, but
is there something technical that you would have liked done differently? Like if they let you just kind of pick a priority of like, these are the ones I want, these are the groupings I want, and just like have it cycle through them automatically when your turn comes up. And if all of those opportunities didn't work, then you'd have to go in and do it manually. Like, would that be of interest at all? Not that
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think about the technical side is like it took this long to get DSS together, so maybe not look for any extra features here, but I wonder if that would have been just 1 week's more worth of work that would have been worth it to smooth the process even further. It definitely makes it people don't have to be there when the time's up, and then especially if your time's up and you want to come in but the website's down because there is an announcement or jerks are being jerks and throwing their old Xboxes at the website.
Yep. So on that note, Phantom X and I both were able to pick since our last show.
Yeah.
Phantom X, you want to show people where your county is? Real quick, let's just take 2 minutes on this before we start talking about Kickstarterversary with our guest here.
Real quick. So, of course, I'm in Ashland, Sanctifondry. Let me actually pull the map. All right. So I'm down here in Greenale, soon to be hopefully approved as Theoryforge. So
Green ale just makes me think of St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
St. Patrick's Day is the only real holiday.
So, with theories,
Thanksgiving is like second place.
With theories, Anvil. Thanks, Elaine. As the sort of main focus. So for me, it was just small. Like I've said, I wanted small. It's on the coast, which wasn't necessarily a big deal for me, but on the coast. And everything's pretty much already set up, a lot of farming. And then really it actually has some of everything except for high ground and sand. So, yeah, set up to do quite a bit of exploration and
But top professionist farmer, so you should be...
Yeah, no, it fits perfectly. Everything else I had been looking at was along the border. Then I have to start thinking about defenses and stuff. And, here I have such a small area. Yeah, I'm on the coast. I guess theoretically I could be invaded, but you have so much around you that, it's not as, I think, important. So
notable are diplomats, spies, and dungeoneers, which seems like...
Spy sounds interesting, right? So.
Yeah, I'm usually playing roguish types with stealth, so that might be a great place for an alt, and I like being a social diplomat in games that allow that, so...
Yeah, I'm excited. So,
sounds kind of interesting.
Just waiting for that name to get approved.
So, I did not actually change the name of my county, which is in Riftwood, Silverdale, Gartmere. I just kept the name. So it's funny. I ran a community in Landmark called Lay Spring, and I was thinking about just naming it after that, but then it was like the same week that we're having a guest on whose duchy is Lux Spring, and I don't know. I just had this like last minute. I don't know. I don't want to be taken away from Balthazar's duchy name. I don't want there to be any confusion. I just kept it, and I'm still waiting on approval for my town name, which was. It's kind of like taking the Amharic word for mountainside, since my capital is by mountainside, which is like Terrare or Terrarem, and kind of turning it into a toe with an apostrophe, kind of like the Tourette, like as in like it's referring to Tehran, the kin of the wetlands there, and thinking in terms of a almost religious spot, but like a respectful name that fits with the ethos.
So where are you placing your... Is it a tavern that you want to have?
Well, there will be a tavern in the town. I need to actually get in there in exposition to figure out how we're going to host people. But I think I need to do more like diplomatic hosting and stuff like that, because I'm on the border of Blackheart and Tyria, two different kingdom borders at that spot. But so we don't neglect our guest anymore. I really wish I could see your face, man, so I knew when you wanted to talk. But let's move on to Kickstarterversary. Balthazar, favorite things about what you've seen so far?
I have to say, hands down, the arena.
How many arenas do you have now?
None yet. I haven't gotten them yet. But I was looking to get maybe 2. Throw them in the duchy. Wanted to use.
You can gift them to mayors that may want to run them as well, right?
That's what I was thinking about doing. Is seeing what what mayors I have who are possibly having an arena.
The thing is, they seem like they're almost better as like an outdoor fashion mall, like a battle of the market, rather than for having gladiators. Like you just set up offices and infrastructure and stuff in there and use it as like a secure place, like your little, tourist trap sort of thing. Casino, that works too. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with it that isn't an arena. So I actually really like that, and I'm excited for what kind of options we're going to have, how much customization, if we're going to have like arena packs and arena upgrades or something, if this becomes a repeat item. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I looked at it and I thought about it, and I thought, I've always talked about wanting to be able to have in-game plays and drama and stuff. Years ago, I was actually designing an in-game theater and landmark, and trying to find things for people to come together and use, but I felt like it's just too big. It's 2 full parcels. It fits.
How can it be 2 full parcels when it's a circle? Parcels are the math doesn't fit on that. There's like a parking lot or something out front.
There's a big parking lot.
A parking lot.
Well, whatever it is, a gathering area, but it's a circle. There's no way a circle
tailgate.
regularly.
I think that it's
yeah.
I don't know, but it says it takes 2. You need to have 2 parcels for it. It says hundreds of characters at max at capacity. Paul, what's the population of your duchy?
I was actually just pulling up the info on my duchy. 1 second. Currently 2,500 to 3,400.
So how many arenas do you think a duchy with 3,000-ish characters would use, would like actively support? How many? What if you were to plan it, like saying that you could totally control it, because people are just going to be buying these arenas and placing them down. But what do you think the optimal arena per capita is?
For a duchy like my size, I would maybe do 2. I don't know. Realistically, would probably need more solid numbers to figure it out. But 2 sounds good for about that many people. Can't have 6 dozen arenas in one duchy, because what are you going to do? Have 3 plays going on at the same time and have maybe 20 people in each one?
Well,
wow, but
I mean,
that could happen.
I also wonder if the solution we're going to see is when the EP store comes around, the kind of cathedrals and shrines level that's like 1,000 plus EP for the common level one. If a Colosseum is going to be like a treasure level, the 20x value, and you've now got this like 4 or 9 square monstrosity that's out there that, yeah, you can fit 3,000 people and their friends from out of town. Like that would be kind of interesting to see, I think. Right now, I don't know, the arena just seems so cool and yet so limited. It's just like this one fixed item, when we know that with the scalable quality that they've talked about with the EP system, that like the better things and the higher quality things are going to come at a higher price point. And I'm wondering if that's going to be pertaining to things like arenas too.
Yeah, I do wonder now, like, will there be EP similar items available with EP that have potential quality or rarity attached to it? I don't want to turn people off of buying an arena if they want to buy an arena, because I just don't know.
Oh, no, I'm sure they're going to be awesome.
Yeah, I did not, because I think that I want some more specialized buildings and smaller buildings. I want a packed house. Now, if I had somebody in my county that wanted to run the arena, right, and plan events and just do that nonstop, that would be great. Okay, well, great, we'll have an arena. But if there's no content, if we don't have someone managing the content for said arena, I'm imagining, you're an explorer and you're going around the world, and one of the like funny things that you see is, there's another empty arena. That I don't want it to be that thing.
I mean, at least I'll have the swap meet flea market thing on Sundays.
So other items, how does Aranor feel about battle cats?
Well, I think we already have a heavy populace of people who have already purchased battle cat. I know one of my good friends sent me a battle cat the other day, and I'm like, I already have a menagerie of pets. Lux Spring is just going to turn into like the royal kennel.
It could be an interesting procession, right? Because they can pull, like, if you have two, right? I forget what the exact.
Well, they can
size
pull a
that it could
medium
pull.
something, and two of them can pull a large something. That's what it sounds
Yeah,
like.
I'm just imagining, a delegation pulling into some place, being led by battle cats.
How many battle cats and how many Trisons do you need to have a reasonable experience in an arena with a battle cat Trison, animal fighting match? Is animal fighting okay? Dog fights are okay in Illyria, right? I'm assuming
It's up to the rules of the land, I think.
Yeah.
This is a question for science.
In my county, there will be the animal fights will be allowed if my Duke and King allow them. But what do you think? Like, how many would that take? How many battle cats, and how many Trisons do you need to create and manage an animal fighting ring? And how many cats will it take to battle one Trison, or vice versa? These are important questions for life.
Well, it depends. Is it a rare Trison? If it's the store-bought rare Trison, that might be a bit of a challenge compared to just a common Trison. Common Trison's only up to 100 EP. That could just get mauled.
I don't know. Trisons seem tough. What is the northern variety?
To be a rideable big cat, like a liger is about the only rideable big cat. They're huge, but it's still, you're going to have your legs all out to the side, all bow-legged, because the things are gigantic. You're not going to be able to get a good grip on it.
No, you have feet.
I don't think they're going to be able to sleep very
feet
well.
Forward, not down the side. You got to have the feet, feet behind
They'll be turned
the
out.
ears.
They'll be turned out, so it'll be fine.
I mean, it almost seems like it'd be easier just to lay across their back like, supine, and just kind of like fire bows over their head while they're all getting all creepy.
Okay.
Can you do stealth-mounted attacks on a battle cat? See, this is what. And in Aranor, it's going to be kind of like a snow leopard, right?
That's what I was reading on it. Is that it's going to be a.
You ride on their backs as they climb up the trees. That's where the stealth comes. Then you get the jump on people.
Death from above on a battle cat.
All right.
I want to see a lot of that happening. So, out of the rewards that we've seen, Balt, what's your favorite? Other than you mentioned the arena right away, but Tarragon wants to know out of the rewards. I think he means the progress rewards.
There's two that tie it up there for me, and one of them's more just for the meme, and I'm assuming everyone can guess which one that is, but it's always going to be cannibalism. I've always made jokes about making kid pig cattle farms. But the EP store item is actually one that really interested me looking at it.
Do you
the store voucher.
You neighbor a Kipik duchy, right?
I have a county that's majority Kipik.
Okay, I'm just kind of putting
For
two
now.
and two together here.
For now.
I mean,
Can you elaborate on how these two ideas mesh?
The capital of cannibalism.
The capital of cannibalism. Hey, don't ask where the meat came from. It's here.
I could see that being more like a weird thing, but then if you do that in the desert, I then just go completely like Mad Max 2 with it. Like, so sure, I mean, okay. I mean, cannibalism's cannibalism. The EP store voucher, by the way, if you I'll bring up the link for it here. EP store. So there's the EP kits items and projection that was posted a while ago. I'm posting that in chat here. And the first three kits that they list, profession kit, storefront kit, and land use kits, they're 100, 125, and 175 EP respectively. It's basically just a voucher for one of those. So, it's 100 to 175 EP depending on what you're looking for. It's nice. It's a nice thing to add. I still think if you don't have the Bloodline pack, you should get the item, but you can't send it as a gift, and you can't activate it unless you buy a Bloodline pack. Otherwise, it just goes away.
But how do you get an exposition item without a Bloodline pack?
I'm saying it could just be this thing that's in your inventory wrapped, and you can't unwrap it until your Bloodline level.
Oh, so
that's what I propose.
You can open this loot box once you have a subscription method.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I'm all about that. But you had other concerns, Neuro, about the later things that are more meaningful.
Marked account getting like guaranteed chance at the mark tag. Marked accounts have an elevated chance of receiving a talent whenever creating a character and talent is discovered. Come on, that's definitely buying power status. Like that one, I understand if you want to have people that have bought into a certain level, like 1,000 influence or something is the baseline to get it. But making it Bloodline only, that sucks. Come on. I did buy Bloodline. I wasn't going to, but I decided I actually wanted some specific infrastructure.
Sucker.
But I really don't. I don't think the marked account and AO's coin should be restricted to Bloodline Plus. I think that's actually disincentivizing to the sale. They should just be available for everyone. You spent money on the game, you should have access to it.
Yeah, my take on it is that, and I disagree a little bit on the EP kit. Like the Bloodline gate is just a way of saying, well, this only applies to people that are there in exposition. But the other things, you don't need to be there in exposition to have these benefits. Now,
nope.
Whatever kind of gate they want to do that isn't like it's possible to be an adventurer level, but still have been someone who bought a lot of things in the shop, is looking to stock up on items, still doing other things. I don't know that they should be excluded. Bald, do you have a lot of adventure level people in your duchy that's just really forming now, or do you have a lot of people in that position? I don't know a lot of people in that position without a Bloodline package that are part of the community, other than Neuro until just now when he bought a Bloodline package.
I don't actually know a lot of people with the Bloodline package, just stuff. Maybe one or two, but.
So if you were to take a stand on, like, what do you think? Like, is there a reason? Convince me one way or another. Should these be Bloodline restricted or not?
I feel like they shouldn't, but they also should probably be. There should be a restriction, but maybe not just only to blood. Maybe go up to, like, say, a proprietorship and below, just to even it out for people who have been here for a while and who have been putting money into the community. Just would be a nice little bump for them. Nice little pick-me-up.
I'd say we already have a gating mechanic in place. The IP is the gating mechanic. The reason to use the bloodline gate mechanic is because you need a bloodline to get into exposition, right? So this things that you use in exposition apply if you're in there for exposition. Okay, great. That's easily understandable. But now we have this additional level of gating. Because if it's just about money, if it's, backers at a 1,000 IP level, that's easy. It's an existing gating mechanic, and I would be happy if that were just what was applied to everything. But we were told going into this repeatedly that this was going to be super exciting because it was going to be benefiting so many players at all different levels. And those of us in nobility roles rely on having people at the gentry and adventure levels vastly outnumbering us in order for our plans to work out and to be able to support them in their play. And I don't like excluding them personally.
I want to respond to what Serp said. He said, think about what the item is and how many we'll be giving out. The volume of some items needs to be limited in the world based on what they are. We already have a limitation. If we're expecting that the current population is the only people that are playing the game, it's never going to make its money back. It's already dead in the water. The expectation should be that like maybe 1% of the people that are actively invested in the game right now represent the player base, not 100% of the player base. Or rather, I said that wrong. That the people that we have right now represent only 1% of the player base come launch time. If we have so many new people come in, even just make an account and leave, and have that initial boost of population when the game first comes out, plus whoever is going to be playing actually playing legitimately after that, there's going to be a whole hell of a lot more people than people that have spent 1,000 IP right at this very moment, or before the end of the sale. So I understand the gate that you're talking about, trying to make sure that the item doesn't become super popular and prolific. But then, first, there's only a few people relative to the launch of the game that are actually getting the item. It's not a lot of people. A few hundred, even a few thousand isn't really a lot of people. They're spread out across a bunch of different servers. The other thing is the AOS coin is, it's expended. It goes away on use. So once it gets used, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And unless you reward other ones or have them as an item that you can get in the game somehow, they're only going to exist until they've been expended. So I'm going to expect that most of them are going to be gone within the first year, the first IRL year of the game being out.
The first 8 hours when I sail out into the ocean and see how far I can go.
So I mean, that's definitely what I'm, kind of thinking, that the worry about making too many of the item is a choice made by the designers. Better explain it. Okay, well, I've sent you a direct message about it. They're watching the show. I've got it on the forum, so it's up to them to address it, I suppose.
So I wanted to, because we're kind of getting towards the end here, the thing that was neatest to me, which I'm curious about you guys, is the gliders, right? If we get to that point, like, and how does that change anything with how you approach, travel and other plans, right, going forward?
Means you better fucking model the roofs and the tops of things real nicely, because now we're going to be seeing them regularly.
I think
we're going to have
we need to set the expectation on what a glider is very quickly, and it's not there's no way that it's like, Fortnite where you jump off a building and you magically produce a glider and you can go. A glider is a large object in the game that is at a specific location. It's a getaway, like at the top of your castle, on the, you need to get away because you're being attacked. Like that's what I see the glider for. But sorry, Balt, for cutting you off there.
No, it's all good. I was just gonna say we're all gonna see Art just climbing to the tallest point possible, jumping off with their glider, just for the giggles and
which is fun.
I could see there being a lot of fun in making a sort of like paid event that you can, go up this tower, take a glider to the next town over, and then there's a tower there. You can take a glider back. People are just going to be stealing those gliders. Those things are just going to be gone in a moment, whether it's that the person intended to take it or it just kind of drifted off. It's like, I'm going to go with it. I'm not actually on the track.
I wonder how we'll be able to use them. How high up, I guess I should say, how much control we'll have over them, because really from where I'm at, there's no high ground, right? So I'd love to have a glider, but what benefit does it provide to me? I don't know much about the coastline of where I'm at. I know it says I have no sand. Since I'm on the coast and I have no sand, I assume that means cliffs. But so maybe I could jump into the ocean, I guess. But like,
it's supposed to be on top of buildings, right?
Yeah,
but I'm thinking more right. If how much control do you have to actually lift up, right? So I mean, yeah, you can climb up to your highest building, but how far are you really going to get from there?
As long as you get far enough away to run away from the siege, you're good. Hope you don't get shot down.
All right.
So we had a couple of questions in chat, and then I'm going to ask you just the real quick version of the question I always ask. All the stuff that happened with resources changing around, stuff messing around, especially since you didn't know exactly where you're going to be landing until very recently. Did it have any effect on gameplay or anything for you? Was it at all meaningful, or was there something you were expecting to happen that didn't happen, or that you weren't expecting to happen that did happen?
Other than the change.
Yeah,
with the Duke, you're talking about something.
I'm talking about the resource stuff.
May I rephrase the question?
Go for it.
Because Balthazar is the consort to the Queen and has been involved in the community for a long time, and Aranor, we believe, kind of at the last minute got the IP, jump ahead to be the first kingdom to pick and claim that spot. So taking what Nerdtoxin said, how does the kingdom feel about the resource distribution in this area that, was a hard fought first pick? Like, Ashland wanted to be there, right? If I understand correctly.
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I believe that was a while back. Ashland was looking at getting K1 too. The K1 also. Mm-hmm. As far as resource distribution, a couple of iterations, I think we had issues because we were looking at the minerals and the lack of them. The Taiga and mountainous regions. But this one, at least personally, I feel is a lot more to the write-ups of both the Harathi and the Broodveer.
That's really the only question we're asking. We don't want to. We're not trying to get into the things that were in the past, the things that aren't real and never happened, because we're not allowed to talk about that. How do you feel compared to the write-ups about the resource distribution? Because we've had some people on other servers being very upset about all of that.
At least on ours, it makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of woodworkers and cutters up in the Broodveer areas, and we do have quite a bit of miners and blacksmiths in our Harathi areas. I feel like our write-ups are pretty close to hitting home as what we had. We did want more mountains. that was one thing that we were a little bit upset about, is we didn't have the big mountains that we thought we were going to.
And along with that, being the only kingdom with Broodveer, it's interesting to me that the Hrothi counties were the ones that were picked. Like, the advantage of taking K1 in my mind is that it's the Broodveer kingdom. So, and then seeing the duchies in Broodveer land taken later, and seeing 4 of them, or 3 of them unfilled up to this point, was surprising to me, given the interest that people had in having that kingdom. I thought it was because people wanted to play Broodveer. Was that related to wanting to shore up the border and people moving against their ideal tribe decision, or was it more, or when it came down to it, were people not as interested? How did that thought process go before we wrap this up? I don't want to keep everyone too late.
So a lot of the thought process was, it was the higher ups who wanted more of the Hrothi and more of the lower who wanted the Broodveer, and so we mostly filled in our Hrothi spot with the Dukes.
And do you have players prepared to grab those remaining spots in Settlers, or are you looking for people who are interested, or you just want them to go away so that you can conquer them internally? What is the plan for that area? You don't have to answer. You could say I declined to answer if you want.
I think we got a few people looking, but it all depends on how people are feeling around Settlers time.
All right, well, I'm going to do a drawing. In the meantime, we do a thing at the end of all of these shows where we have a guest, where we give you guys the opportunity to give your best pitch for people to join your domain. And I hope you're either prepared or prepared to not be prepared, because you're up, man.
No, I'm prepared to not be prepared, actually. Essentially, I'm looking for all sorts of people who want to enjoy the gameplay with us. We're working to sort of file in a centralized ideal and work together as a team rather than having a split focused. And I don't. Last minute.
So it's a place for Broodveer to come. You're going to be supporting Broodveer, so if you're hoping to play Broodveer, it's a good spot, right?
We're open to all sorts of things. We have such a mix in my duchy that it's like I have weird Kipignir and Broodveer, Hrothi. Any and all are welcome up there.
You had a really interesting pitch that you told us earlier, and I was desperately hoping that you were going to put that forward, because we need interesting pitches. So come on.
I just didn't want to overstep the boundary of vulgarity.
No, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Unless you're like offending, groups. Of
Diggs,
people.
my immediate response was to say "F you, Diggs," but
Exactly.
That's what everyone on YouTube does. So.
That's right.
So go right ahead.
And it's infamous.
Fuck, I already lost it. If you want to see the fuck dome, welcome to the ass crack of Valyria.
All right, now you guys know why to go to Lux Spring.
Yeah, somebody needs to clip that. Okay.
See, everybody is excited about this.
All right, somebody clip it. All right. Zog,
and it's going to be, the Fuck Dome is going to be an arena, right?
Yeah, of course. What else are you supposed to call it?
I think it's going to be the
Yeah.
whole county. I think it's that whole duchy, right?
Well, but the movie is, right, Fuck Dome in the arena.
I mean, Slaine, have you seen The Shape of My Duchy? Might as well be the thong in Nazaron's.
Oh. So we did have a winner. The Scottish Dwarf won our drawing, and I will be sending the 600 EP that way. If you're desperate to get involved in the thong in Azeron's ass, dive right into Balthazar's Duchy. You can share your Discord link or whatever in chat. If you want to join us for future shows, just stop by our own Discord. Yeah. We talk about stuff all the time. Friday, King Archibald von Roth of Tyria will be joining us at this time, and we'll be doing another giveaways. We hope that everyone will come back. And that's all from my end. Who else has some closing remarks? Fun,
given the new change we just talked about. I can't wait. Okay.
Yeah. No, this is an especially good ending there with your pitch. I've been saying all along we need something more than, hey, join me and you'll be rich and prosperous, because that's what everyone says.
All the best trade here. We love you.
Between
that should have been in our title. Fuck them.
Actually, well, then we would have some problems probably on YouTube. But
oh, maybe.
Anyways, no, this has been fun. So thanks for joining us, Duke Balthazar. And if you ever want to come back, you're more than welcome to come join us. So, with that being said, oh yeah, this it's always a blast having folks on. So, so we will be back on Friday. So everyone have a good couple of days, and we will see you right back here. See ya.